Right, so I've just rushed through that because I'm furious with what's going on. Was what I'd be saying on Sunday, but it seems filming this or recording this on a Tuesday, it's already come to pieces. Chelsea are out, Man City are out, Barcelona are out.
Looks like Tottenham are about to be out as well.
Atletico Madrid are out.
Yeah, so it's all falling
It's
apart.
done.
Can I just put my hand up and say, or pat myself on the back? I did say that on Sunday, this will be done by Wednesday. And,
You did.
Right. No, well, look, over the last few days, obviously, particularly on Sunday, and I actually think this is probably, I don't know if I'm going to call it the case of the Nevilles, because anytime Gary Neville comes out with something, it seems to just capture everyone's imagination about things. And obviously, he came out on Sunday furious at the announcement of this. I'll start off by saying that, first and foremost, I want to make it very, very clear that I do not like the idea of the European Super League in any form or fashion, only because I don't think it comes from a good place. Obviously, people are talking about greed and this and that and the other. The reasons I don't like it are probably going to be slightly different to what I think is generally being talked about, because as I've said to you the last couple of days, I think that a lot of big talking points, specific points, are actually being isn't being talked about properly. You know, they're talking as if the Champions League is being cancelled. No, it's not being cancelled. It might get beaten out, but it's not being cancelled. But I do think that this is all just a big play from these teams, particularly from Perez and obviously the people that have gathered, just to go against the Champions League for a specific purpose. And I think that all these teams that are coming out is pretty much showing that.
Is someone jumping in?
Rory, you obviously had a lot to say. I think out of the four of us, right? I think you probably embody the what would I say? The most impassioned, the most real and most impassioned football fan. You've got a long history, family history to Arsenal. You also, I think, you're like one step away from actually joining a football factory, but you've got a little bit of reasoning where you're not actually going to go head first into it. So obviously you had a lot to say. What do you think overall about this Super League?
So I hated it. Obviously I hated it. My biggest issue with it is that it goes against everything that I've been brought up to believe football should be. In my mind, football isn't an elite group of 8 or 12 or 16 clubs at the very, very top of the league. Football is everything from the Champions League final down to the Exeter City fan that drives to Carlisle on a Tuesday night to watch his team get spanked 3-0, to the person who goes out and plays for 50 quid on a Saturday afternoon, to the person who goes and plays for nothing on a Sunday morning. Football is a game for all, whether it's at the elite level or whether it's at the lowest level. So from someone playing in their local playing field on a Sunday morning to the Champions League final, there always needs to be that dream, no matter how bad you are, no matter whether you're sat on the bench at your under-14s team, there has to be that dream that one day you can play in or you can officiate or you can be involved in a team that's competing at the very top of the game. That's the essence of football. That's the reason we love it so much. So for these group of businessmen, because they're not football people, these people have never put up nets on a local playing field. These people have never, they don't know what it's like, that feeling when you're standing there waiting for the whistle to blow at the start of the game. They don't know what it's like to walk through, you know, into a stadium and peek the green grass through the stairs as you walk into a football ground. That's something that all of us it should resonate with. All of us have experienced that. All of us have probably taken a ball on the back of the fire in the middle of December and writhed around on the floor in pain. These people that run these football clubs have never experienced any of that. And the power grab that they attempted on Sunday, and that's what I'm calling it, it's a power grab, goes against everything good about football. Absolutely everything good about football. I just find the whole essence of it basically them saying, we don't want to play with you anymore. We're too good to play with you. We're going off to play on our own and we're going to make loads of money. And, you know, here's 100 million for grassroots football. Be lucky you're getting that. And for me, that's just not what football is at all. Like, it made me, I was fuming. And in fact, I'll even go as far as to say that yesterday, I was pretty down all day. I was really, really down and depressed about the whole thing, just because as much as we know the game isn't fair, it's not been fair for 20 years. We at least knew that there was a story. There was a possibility of an Atalanta or an Ajax or a Lyon getting to the latter stage of the Champions League. There was an opportunity of a golden generation coming through at a club like Benfica or a club like Dynamo Kiev, who have lots of great young players at the minute. This Super League is snatching that from all of us. And for me, everyone that cares about football should be bothered by this.
We can actually, breaking news, Florentino Perez on the line. He says we can have our ball back. I mean, it's done now. I think by the time this pod's finished and it goes out tomorrow, it will be over because everyone will have pulled out. But everything you've already said is exactly why everyone's so pissed off. And I know, Chris, you struggled to understand why there was such a furore. You called this the George Floyd of football. This is the thing that got everyone going.
I don't think you wanted that to be put on the pod, Danny. I think that was meant to be private.
No, as in it's that moment. It's the right him that was a really historic, important moment because that was when everyone stood up and went, "No, this is too much. We can't have this." And that's the point. You're saying there was a moment, and this was the moment where everyone went, "Nah, this is too much now. No one agrees with this. This is completely wrong." And everyone stood up. And actually, the power, I mean, the scary thing about this, the power within, 24, 48 hours of being able to basically turn this completely around. Obviously, it's done now. There's no way it's going to happen. And I was thinking even before it all started breaking that they were pulling out. After all the backlash, there was just no chance. There was absolutely no chance. No publisher, no Sky, no TV channel was going to sponsor it. No pundit was going to go on it. Like, just no one was going to back it. But it needed... That's why this was so big. This was that moment that got everyone to go, no, this is our football. You're not having this. And I'm really glad that we've won. I'm really glad we've taken it back. I don't think it's the end of it. I think there will be reform, and football needs reform. If there are, 100%. We're forgetting how we've still got a Qatar World Cup in 2022. We've had to change the whole fucking football season so we can have it in winter because of such nonsense that you can't have it in the summer because it's too hot. Like, who would even pick to have a World Cup there? There's so much corruption and crap in UEFA and FIFA, but at least what they're not doing is destroying the day-to-day game that people love to watch. Yes, VAR is destroying it. Yes, everything else is trying. It's slowly been dying. This was like this was like the shot to the head that would just kill it instantly, rather than the sort of the slow death it's been getting. And you hope that maybe now there might be an opportunity for some kind of reform in some kind of way. Who knows?
I think
Danny,
you're counting your chickens that it's dead, though. Sorry, I'm just saying. I think you're counting chickens that it's dead. Like
it's dead.
No. This isn't like the threats of before. This isn't like when the Premier League went to Sky Sports and said, "We've got Amazon behind us and we got Netflix behind us." This is JP Morgan signed this off. This is the money is there, and because the money is there, and all these clubs, they're saying they're backing out, but they've actually signed a contract to say they can't. So I don't think this isn't like a threat before where they're just like, we want to get more money from the Champions League. There is big money on this. You've seen the stock market already backing it. JP Morgan have backed it. This ain't a case of Roman Abramovich being like, oh no, there's 10 Chelsea fans outside Stamford Bridge with an RIP sign. Let's stop it. Like this is the big issue of it. It's not about fans at this football stadiums.
So can I ask a question to you and Danny? How bad, I was going to say if it had gone up, let's assume that it does, that they do try and move forward with it. How bad do you think the protests and the almost civil unrest would have got if they'd have pushed forward with it?
This is my point. I was thinking it this morning after everything that happened. Like, we've never seen backlash like this ever for a decision in football. Like, there's been crappy decisions and lots of people unhappy, and there's all the crap about all the problems in football, racism in football, this and that and the other, right? But nothing has united an entire world like this. Now, I saw a clip earlier from James Corden on his fucking show in America, like an Australian guy, like literally throughout the world, this hit everybody. And when my missus is saying to me, hey, have you heard the news about football? I'm like, well, right, if she's talking about football, it's top of news. Like, this is it. Nothing has ever been this big. You can't beat that backlash. You just can't.
I still think you're acting a bit American there by thinking the backlash here is the world. Like, do you know why they're doing this? Because these games will be on Disney Plus. They'll be shown at the kickoffs will suit American audiences.
So you still believe this will go ahead? You
I
believe
just don't
it-
think it will. I think the players,
honest-
managers will let it happen. I
don't think it goes ahead in August like planned.
But you think in 5 years' time it would have started?
It feels
Not as a closed
inevitable.
league.
Like, it feels inevitable.
Hold
I
on.
think if they get rid of the closed, like the whole sticking point is the closed league part. The thing that FIFA said in their laws around you can't join a closed, all this stuff about a closed league. Yes, 5 teams can join, but it's a closed league, right? 15
Yeah,
teams,
of course it's a
12
closed
teams
league.
can't
But
get relegated, promoted. The moment they change that is the moment I think they've got a chance of still creating something which is similar to what they want. So they can still go and create a league of some kind.
Yeah, but it
Something
has to
with
be done on
the big
merit.
European powerhouses, but as long as it's done on merit, people will
Exactly.
accept it. They won't be
What
happy, but they'll accept it.
But
What
it's
the
not a
European
closed
Super
league.
League did, what the European Super League did, and Rob, you're saying, do you think it's going to happen? And I kind of agree with Mark, because these people didn't do this thinking, oh, we felt this pressure from the fans and from the people, and all of a sudden we're going to capitulate in a day and a half and not follow through with what we've done. What they've done is they've put the Champions League and they put themselves in a position where they would be happy with either outcome, because the outcomes that they want is either they just want more money. So that's either going to be forcing UEFA and the Champions League to give them more money, or they're going to do their own Super League where they're going to ring fence themselves and give themselves more money. That's all they're looking for. This has nothing to do with the fans. These aren't people that listen to the common folk and understand the culture of what's going on here and think, do you know what? I think we're going to change our mind on this. This isn't a Disney film, even though it's going to be on Disney Plus. Like these are ruthless people that are just looking for the bottom line. And the thing is, Dan, you saying that I've struggled to understand. I've not struggled to understand the situation. What I've struggled to come to grips with is the portrayal of what's happening. Because this idea that it's taken away competition, I think is a bit nonsense personally, because it's this idea that all these other teams aren't going to be going into the Champions League. Again, they're not getting rid of the Champions League. It's still going to be there, right? You're saying that Leicester City, West Ham aren't going to have a chance to go in there. Of course they are, because all the other teams have gone to the Super League. Of course they can go.
Yeah, but they'll be going into a Champions League that doesn't contain Juventus, doesn't
They're going to
contain
a
Real Madrid,
fake
doesn't
Europa
contain
League.
Barcelona.
But there won't be a Champions League. That's
course not.
like, that's what you're saying, Chris. They're not cancelling the Champions, but they would have to. You
Yeah,
can't take you can't take those 12 teams out, plus potentially another 3, plus
Or 5.
five who they haven't. No, they want 15 founding members, 5 in and outs. So 20 teams. You can't take out 20 teams out of that tournament and that tournament survive. It would lose its
It's a 32-team
money.
tournament.
Yeah,
But
you can't
there's-
take 20 teams out of it. It doesn't. The Champions League can't just like continue.
No.
Look,
the way it is.
I'm sure the Champions League will struggle greatly if this isn't in it. But there are so many variables to the situation, so many negotiations that are probably yet to be had. Yeah, all these clubs are pulling out, but it'd be naive to think that there's not going to be fucking lengthy discussion about what's going to happen in the future of European football during this period, right? What they did on Sunday and what they're doing now isn't the end of it. They didn't just say something and then have withdrawn because of the reaction. They clearly have a wider goal in mind. But
yeah, and
taking
and
that all
it's
into
clear what it
consideration-
is.
Hold on, Mark. Taking that into consideration, fans aren't a part of this. Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, we can do it. Everyone can go on TV and talk about how damaging this is to fans. Do you think that they had fans in their minds when they were going to take this action? So do you think that that you think that they're going to retract their?
I think they did have fans in mind. I think they had a different type of fan in mind. Because
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of actually had fans in mind, like they didn't have. Did you see that they called them legacy fans?
Legacy
So-
fans, yeah.
Legacy fans are people that have supported a certain team or they have a link to a club their whole life. We're all legacy fans of a team, whether it's Man United for Danny and Mark or Arsenal for myself and Chris. But they're talking about this new breed of fan. Like you get in the basketball where you get people that will just follow LeBron, or in the NFL where people will just follow Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. Like,
Well, you could argue that's what me and Danny were when we were younger.
you
if
know
they're
because
like-
you're still United
like-
fans 30 years later.
I know, but that's what makes football different. is like
Yeah, if you'd have
we
bought
would have
every
we would
Beckham
have
shirt-
started. Yeah, well, I would be lying if I said Beckham didn't have a huge influence on.
Yeah, Cantona and
sport.
Beckham were the reason I supported Man United. So that was
And
it.
so it is like that. It's like you'd be surprised at how quickly they'll get those fans. And but yeah,
But do you
there's
think
semant-
long term that's sustainable to just live off them
No.
fans and not the fans that are going through the gate?
No,
and paying money
long
to-
term, long term, I think you get two different sports. You'll get franchises. The thing is, what to me, it would have made more like it would have got more backing from this country if they said we're making a European Super League and we're going to have a Premier League 11, La Liga 11, a Serie A 11. But the problem is you're taking teams that already exist. So you're saying, okay, we're protecting our founding teams, and your teams are Manchester, your teams are Tottenham. Like these are geographical locations. They're not like their supporters are based from you. Most supporters support their local club, but
Yeah.
so that's where this disconnect between a business and a football
But
team.
also, like you'll think we're forgetting that Stan Kroenke was a guy that bought the St. Louis Rams and then just decided to up them and move them to LA. And
Yeah.
because the
Utah
Rams
Jazz.
weren't that. Because the
Utah
Rams.
well known for their jazz.
What's that?
The Utah very well known for its jazz.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Utah Jazz, didn't they start off in New Orleans?
Yeah.
But this is what will happen if they have their own Super League. They will up and leave. The problem, like the infrastructure, would be so amazing, but you got to think about if you're a football club like Tottenham now. Like there was some news, I don't know if you saw it, but Tottenham have got rid of their manager, and one of
Yeah,
the
that was
reasons
lost
is,
in the wash.
yeah, and one of the reasons is because they've got this new stadium and they've budgeted to finish in the top 4 so many seasons. Once you remove the risk of not finish, like it doesn't matter where you finish, you still get your guaranteed income every year and you can't be relegated. Suddenly Tottenham could spend more on a stadium. Do you know, they had to budget their stadium. They had to say to afford this stadium, which is a world-class leading stadium, they had to budget that they'll finish in the top 4 X number of seasons out of 10.
I think what's interesting.
Now,
What's interesting
now they
about
wouldn't have to.
But I think what's quite interesting about the potential future of the game and where I think they were taking it is I heard a comparison to Formula One. It's really interesting actually because what they didn't explain was just because there's these 20 teams, they didn't say where they're going to play. They didn't say they were going to have home and away games. They didn't say they were going to play it there. It's like you can imagine a world. Well, you can imagine a world where actually it doesn't matter. It's about the team, and a bit like how Formula One teams pick up and they go to each of the venues, and the venues are independently owned, and they just travel around and play it and basically race at different venues. You can take these football franchises and just pick them up, and they can play wherever, and then you can go and have different fans from all around the world seeing them.
Fair
And
enough.
you-
Do
and you
that,
lose-
but don't call them Arsenal or Tottenham or
Well, yeah,
Man
you
United.
have to. Then
They
that's
have
why
to be
they
new teams.
becomes Merseyside Red or whatever, because it's not Liverpool in Liverpool. It's now a
Yeah.
franchise that is a sports club that can go around the world. But I genuinely think people like Kroenke, that's what he does. I mean, that's what they do. And that would be so ridiculously lucrative to do that. It would be incredible. So you can completely understand it. But as you said, it is a totally different game. You can't just pick
Yeah.
something up,
But
kill it,
but
and then start again as something else.
genuinely, I think we've probably discussed the 10-year plan they went to JP Morgan with. They said first we break
Probably.
away. We break away from the governing bodies. Then we change the names. So it'll be the Red Devils instead of Man United.
Yeah,
It will be
the
Hot-
Citizens instead of City.
yeah, the Gunners.
the
like,
Gunners instead of.
they're-
Or maybe
they're-
Arsenal could stay because Arsenal's not is one of the few clubs that's actually not linked to an area, and I think Juventus isn't an actual
Yeah,
area.
it's in Turin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they'll soon change their names. Like the Galacticos might be Madrid or someone. They'll
Yeah.
soon change their names,
But
and then
also the sort of cultural significance of a team like Barcelona as well. Like Barcelona to the people of Catalonia is huge. It's their national team.
Crazy.
So to think that they could get away with it, it's almost astoundingly, almost naive to think that. I mean, I'd love to have.
well,
the
it's because
Catalan presence.
Barcelona and Real Madrid are legitimately months away from bankruptcy.
Yeah, I mean,
They-
this is the thing.
they-
No one's asking why. Like Chris, you mentioned about what doing it now in the pandemic and trying to use that as a cover. The reality is they have to do it now. They had no choice. Barcelona have £1 billion of debt. how they've been allowed to take on another 3.5 billion now. Because don't forget, JP Morgan aren't, this isn't a freebie. JP Morgan are going, here's £4 billion. It's a loan.
No, they won't
They're
pay
giving a
back,
loan
yeah.
with interest.
I mean, they're
They
an
have to pay
investment
back.
They'll get that money so quickly because at the moment,
Well, it's leveraged
problem-
on the broadcasting rights. So what they're saying now is you can have the cash now, but for the next 3 or 4 years, I'm taking all your broadcast money to pay back.
But the issue is now any money generated. So we talk about the World Cup final and the Champions League final. Champions League final gets how many more times viewers than the Super Bowl? Like 20, 30 times more viewers. But because they don't commercialize it in the same way.
Like for me, I think that's one thing that needs to be considered greatly, because whether people can say, would this work? Would this work? This isn't football. This is how we play it. What they're trying to do, and Rory, you should appreciate this. What they're basically trying to do is do a football version of the NFL, right? Like I can see a version of this where now these hour-long games, hour and a half long games, turn into 4-hour days where you've got all these fucking breaks in between, that you're gonna have a penalty sponsored by.
It's not the same though, because football's a game that needs the free flow to be entertaining.
I don't think the game will change though. I think the build-up will.
Yeah,
I mean, Perez was talking about making the game shorter.
Yeah, but hold on. When you're in a PR disaster, the last thing you want is to send your Spanish drunk uncle out to the press to fucking talk nonsense. I mean, what they were thinking now, I have no idea. It's like the final nail in the coffin, idiots.
Well, it's either they've conceived this and they're going to be very reasoned and well approached and thought out what they're doing, or this is purely panic and that they've decided that they've just got to go in, not have a set date. We're going to apply this as soon as we possibly can, was basically what they said, with just a set 15 and a random 5 with a qualifying means, which we can't yet tell you. And they've not even said when these games are actually going to be played, except for just midweek and how it's slightly going to affect certain other leagues. Right, so it's either going to be they're either well thought out or they haven't got a clue what the fuck they're saying. But the general premise is that this is something that could work, because they've called it the Super League, so they can basically call it the Super Bowl. Like they're going to have a big final at the end of the day where there's going to be all these fanfares and fireworks, and this would absolutely be massive. The thing that needs to happen is, again, I don't want to. It's this idea where everyone's got to band together. But if you're going to band together, then talk about it from a realistic standpoint in how you're not going to feed these clubs. Like this setup will massively affect all football leagues. You know how there's the filtration process of money that goes down to grassroots level. Well, don't feed them any players. Like the FA, all the leagues around the world need to have bylaws that say you cannot provide players to these clubs if they want to do transfer fees, or do it so much so that they're going to fucking drain them. Or you're going to put in rules for the European Super League where they can't just keep all their funds. Like I actually don't care if these teams, for the most part, band together and say we want to make our own competitions, because I know you, Rory, and other fans are going to say, well, it's not playing football at the highest level. I don't care. We'll set a new standard, set a new high level. All right. If they don't want to be part of your league or they don't want to play with you, then you go and carry on your own thing. The Premier League has a history so deep and so far that I think that the fans that have teams in it are probably going to be okay. I feel bad for us lot. We support teams that are going to go into
100%. I agree with you.
Talking about Leicester City fans and West Ham fans.
I'm jealous of Leicester fans.
Yeah.
What the fuck do we do? What do we do when these teams go into the European Super League and we're playing against Man Red and Juve Black and White or whatever the fuck they're going to be called? And we have no teams to go to. I'm going to have to support either Accrington Stanley, who keep getting fucked every week, or I'm going to have to pick another London team, which I don't want to do. Or, I mean, I don't mind Southampton because it's a nice coastal team. Give me a reason to go down there.
Nice coastal
What the fuck do we do? What do we do?
No, I totally agree. And I actually think for a lot, like talking to a Derby fan yesterday, he don't care. He's like, well, I don't care. Like anyone below the Premiership, I know they're saying it's band together, but there's a lot of fans below the Premiership are like, well,
yeah, they don't care.
Premier League upwards is a closed shop.
Yeah, but that's why all this nonsense about the FA Cup. Sorry, Mark. All these teams, they wish Boston United. They want to play the games at Emirates and at Old Trafford. If they want to leave. Do you know what I mean? Newcastle's a big enough stadium. Let them go to there. Like, let's set a new standard. Why have we're being too desperate? It's like some waste man trying to go for a girl that's like Jessica Biel or Superman. please. I want to be with you.
I guess it's like it's. I guess it's your stance on how much you want because some people feel like their club is theirs and they're so outraged they want to defend it. For me, honestly, I'm a bit like, I'm done with United.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, like I am properly considering just Fulham now. But my downside is Fulham would do the same thing if they had half a chance. So I'm like,
But then can't you look at it from a perspective of like, you can be a football fan. Like because I can completely resonate with what you're saying, but I will always consider myself now as an adult. I'm more of a football. I have my 5 or 6 teams around Europe that I look out for every weekend. Some people would say that's plastic, but it's actually, I just love football. Like I'm not going to let 11 millionaires that play for Arsenal ruin my weekend because they draw with Fulham.
Rory,
No,
how
but
much do you rinse me for not having a team, an NBA team, all the time? You're like, oh, I don't pick no one.
I do think you have to have a team to follow, though.
Well, you just said
You're the biggest NBA fan I know, and you don't have a team, which I think is admirable. But I think you do. It does keep you hooked.
but the NBA is kind of where this football could go, where performance and money doesn't matter anymore. Like
you just
one of the
enjoy
most
watching the best
successful
team.
sports teams in the world is the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
They're
But
not
they're shit.
exactly. Yeah,
The New York Knicks
because
has been-
because it doesn't matter. Like the
because
moment
they're in a
it
big
doesn't.
market.
Well, the moment it doesn't matter, success doesn't matter. Like there's a lot of talk about, oh, we shouldn't have allowed foreign ownership in football clubs. But the problem is back when this started happening in the early 2000s, the interests were the same. A successful owner was someone who had a successful team. So it was like, look at Man United, they're milking them, but all their success is coming from success on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're moving to a thing where they're saying, can we just guarantee our success? Like,
Yeah.
can we guarantee it without having to perform on the pitch? And that's where the foresight was too short back in the 2000s. But the idea was like, oh, who cares if Abramovich comes in and gives Chelsea loads of money? Because for him to do well, Chelsea have to do well.
Yeah.
So they're aligned in their interests.
I do
Now
think
it's
that
like,
is-
no, just care.
Can I ask?
Go on.
Obviously, these are the biggest teams in the world, and they are the biggest brands. But if there was genuinely a concerted effort by the majority clubs in this world, how much of a guarantee is this Super League going to be successful? Because everyone's going on like it's a foregone conclusion, and the fact that because these clubs aren't going to allow other teams to go into it, they've basically just written their own check. Maybe I'm just too naive, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think there are things that everyone else can do to compete against that and not allow that to be the defining margin, or maybe make that materialize into their natural success.
I would have thought like that, but it sounds, since Sunday, I've been looking out at what football tops people wear. I played 9-a-side yesterday, and there was another 9-a-side on the pitch next to me. Every single foreign team was one of the teams picked to go in this ESL.
There's no PSG.
No PSG.
I see
It
a
was
lot
all
of
Milan,
PSG shirts.
all Milan tops. There was Juve. There was Barcelona tops. Every team was from that ESL. So it's like, oh, maybe like we could have a Newcastle or a West Ham or someone be our one. But to be honest, outside of Italy, outside of the Milans and Juve, like Napoli, you know them because their fans go mad every time they come over here. Like, and
See, I
Maradona
like the
plays
ones
for
that are like next tier down. Like whenever I'm choosing a team to follow in a league or a team to play FIFA with, I'd always go. That's how I ended up with Betis as like my adopted Spanish team, because I'll never go for the Barca or the Real Madrid. Like even
That's the
now,
guy
like,
with the Benfica top.
even now I'm wearing a Benfica
Yeah.
shirt, but Benfica aren't even any good anymore. They're sat in third place. I hate the kind of Madrid, Barcelona, Juve. Like I'd much rather go for a Sampdoria in Italy.
But it goes back to what we said at the start. The reason everyone supports them is because they've got the best players, and they're the most exciting to watch. Is what everyone wants to see.
100%.
The difference with this is like football right now today is a sport. What it's becoming is a product. So
Yeah.
what these billionaires were doing is going and just
I
creating.
think that's a bit
product.
naive. It's
No,
been like
because-
that for a while.
It's
but
getting worse.
what makes sport is competition. Like a sport is a sport because there are winners, there are losers. It's a competition. And the reason of such uproar is because this took away competition. Therefore,
No,
it doesn't really become a sport anymore. It just becomes
It
a
becomes a
product.
travelling circus.
Well, it's like going to watch. It's like going to cinema or anything. It's going
But
to
they-
watch really
yeah.
entertaining stuff.
But they don't care as long as people pay, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
they'll
they
do.
don't care about that. They don't care.
Well, I
but
don't understand. You're
They
saying
don't
it's
understand the
like-
concept
it's
because they
like
won't.
doing
They,
competition.
well,
but the American models work for them. Like they still got to play and compete.
Because name a city in North America that doesn't have a big team though.
Well,
All the biggest teams have in America, it works because there's 32 NFL teams, but every major city, every major market in America has a team.
Yeah.
Imagine there was no team in New York. There was no team in imagine take the 5 biggest markets, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas. And they went off and decided to play their own league and said, no, Minneapolis, you're not big enough to play with us. Houston, you're not big enough to play with us. Atlanta, you're not big enough to play with us. And basically said the biggest markets are going to have our own league because we're the biggest cities, we generate the most money. That's pretty much the equivalent of what's happening here. The reason it works in America is because there's only 32 or 28 big enough cities to support a major league team, which is why you see, Boston, New York, Chicago, Houston, Detroit, they all have one team. There's no team in like Scottsdale, Arizona. They have to support Phoenix because the Phoenix Suns and the Arizona Cardinals are all based in Phoenix because they're based in the biggest markets.
And to be honest, I do think this ESL is a good idea for the women's game. and
you
the
say
reason
that.
I actually think it could work in the women's game, but because they were talking about it, and I was like, well, there aren't that many teams. There aren't that much history for the clubs. Like that.
Hold on, you're talking about
that makes no sense to me.
That was such bollocks, though. The Liverpool, like to say, well, Liverpool's women's team are going to be joint part of this Super League. Well, they don't have a women's team. They spent more on fireworks last year when they won the league than they have on their women's team.
They did have a women's. They had quite a good team till Man United.
Leon have won the Champions League 6 times in a row, and you're going to tell me Leon can't be part of it?
That makes no sense to me. If you say that this Super League takes away competition, how can you then say it should apply to any competition, any other area of sport? Because surely then the idea is no competition.
Because they're saying take 20 teams out. I don't think there are 20 elite level women's teams. So you're actually just saying let's just put all the good teams in a league and compete.
So the problem is that not the fact that the Champions League, as it currently stands, is still present. And teams could, in theory, go to Europe and still play in Europe. It's the fact that simply because these teams have been the biggest teams in the world for so long, with all the money and all the prestige and all the following, that we can't then compete as the other people to then match them. So that's taking away competition. Because why is it that the Premier League can't spend the next 20 years pumping up West Ham or Leicester or these other teams? Why is it they've got to just follow on these other bigger teams' coattails?
The best players will always go where the money is.
Well, this is where it falls down. This is where it falls down.
But you're missing the point. This ESL and the men's game haven't picked the best 12 teams.
We have missed some
four of those 12 teams have never won a European Cup. Arsenal are currently 10th in the league.
Are you sure it's 4 and not 5?
We're missing some big
City.
news, by the way.
Go on.
Ed Woodward's just resigned
Good.
from Man United. Hooray. 10 years in the making. I've been dying for that to happen.
Greedy prick.
And that is going to be the end of, I imagine, the rest of them too.
What is going on here? Because there's all this there's things that for me don't seem directly even related to this to a degree. I don't understand that.
So to put it in layman's terms, they're all middle-aged men who have all left their wives for something younger and attractive and more attractive in their eyes. The young bird has turned around and gone, actually, no, this ain't working for me. So they've gone back to their wives, and their wives are now saying, well, you ain't coming back here, pack your bags.
Oh, I'm so happy about that. I've got a fun through.
That is pretty much a good analogy. It is like the 12 teams, well, the 6 in the Premier League are like cheating husbands.
They literally are. They have all the class and decorum of cheating husbands.
Well, I was just, funnily enough, for that count, because I just saw the news, but I was actually going to ask, it'd be really interesting to hear your point of view on what do they do now? How do they get out of this? Not only have they gone and done that, they've then bottled it, and now they've got to go back and face the music. But how can they survive?
10 points each. Each one should be deducted 10 points.
No, look, they won't be, right? They will draw a line under it, and they'll say, look, this isn't on the players, this isn't on the managers, this isn't on the fans. This was 11 individual billionaires who decided something separately, a little boys club. They're all being punished for it. And Ed Woodward is resigning because he's been sacked. And I'm sure all the others are about to do the same.
I think Kroenke
goes from Arsenal.
He won't go. He won't go.
If Kroenke goes from Arsenal, that will be such a massive win for Arsenal.
He won't go.
Such a massive win.
He's a scumbag
what
and
you're
a narcissist, and they have no shame. Narcissists have no fucking shame. Kroenke will stay there until he's driven out.
He'll be driven out. He'll be driven
I
out.
hope
But you've got Edward Wood resigning from Man United. You know, that's great news. Tomorrow he gets announced as chairman of the ESL, and it's like, well, you've got to leave your current job to get a new job. So he's
You
just,
might be
he's
right
just
there.
handing his notice in. He's like,
Can I ask another question?
let's not react too soon.
Can I ask another question to all three of you? Do you think that in the light of what what's happened in the last half an hour since we've been recording this, do you think that this, now that they've all come back, let's assume they've all come back with the tails between their legs, do we think that this can and will become an actual catalyst to change? Like, the game has to change now. The sport has to go back into the hands of people who care about it, and not, Stan Kroenke, the Liverpool guy, John Henry, etc., etc. So
if we get nothing out of this but VAR removed, then it's a win for everyone.
I could easily see in England.
It is all a big play to get the VR removed.
I could see the push for the 50+1 rule in England.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
I don't see that in La Liga. I don't. I think the Barca and Real have come up with this through legitimate worries of bankruptcy.
And Inter Milan had to take emergency loans a few weeks ago because they're
Why
nearly
can't
bankrupt.
Barca and Real Madrid just sit this one out? And by that I mean, why can't they say, right, we don't have the money for that? We're going to have to go to Cornwall this year rather than the Caribbean.
No, it's because they spent 130 million on Hazard last year and not playing. They spent hundreds of millions on players that they've got nowhere.
It's because Spain and Catalan have always held Barca and Real Madrid as their teams. So they've given them a lot of tax breaks. They've given them a lot of corrupt moves to say, whenever Real Madrid or Barcelona are on the slope, they would give them a helping hand. And it's been ruled back at the start of this year that was illegal, anti-competition, and it's been stepped in that they have to pay back a lot of things.
Sorry,
was it Real Madrid sold their training ground for £1 and rented it back for free for 15 years?
How would you feel if you was a supporter of one of the other 8 or 9 clubs in Madrid, like Getafe or Vallecano or
I think they'll feel like everyone feels like that isn't in it. If you're not in the 12, I think everyone is in agreement with everyone else. I really hope there is some change. It's funny you mentioned the 50+1 thing, because I would love to see that. And actually, ironically, you look at
just
something
say
like,
what the 50+1 is.
Yeah, so in Germany, which we have to applaud them. They were the one league and with teams who said no. Fair play to them. And what's his name? The German who's just taken the role at UEFA. What's his name? I've forgotten his name. The big
Karl-Heinz Rummenigge.
Rummenigge, that's the one. Rummenigge, who's now got the best job in football, basically. He's won out of this because not only does he look great, his club looks great. He's now just got promoted to a brilliant role. But what they have is a 50+1 means that 51% of every club is owned by the fans. So no single individual can own more than 49% of a football club, so that they never have the majority share. So they cannot make decisions like this without fans agreeing to it. And
also, they have safe standing. You can have a pint whilst watching the game, which you can't
they
do
have
in any
lots
other
of.
country.
Well, they also have £12 tickets and all sorts. But there's a whole load of reasons why the people
German
like
football rocks,
but,
and why we're going to Germany next year to watch a game.
Yeah, you look at someone like Barcelona, and you look at teams in financial distress, and you go, well, look, maybe there's an option here to create money by creating shares and giving it to fans and letting people buy in to be part of this. There are millions of Catalonians who would love to be part of Barcelona. Give them the option. It used to be fan owned, and now it's not. And it's the same thing for a load of clubs. They
still all elect club presidents, though. That's why I don't understand how they've been so badly mismanaged to the point where they've slipped into this turmoil. Because I mean, like when Laporta was the Barcelona president, he was like the most popular Barcelona president of recent times, and he was financially prudent. He kept Messi happy, which
it's fair, but that's it. They kept Messi happy. Like Barcelona leaked how much Messi costs them a year, and he's kind of they just can't afford him, but they couldn't let him go. So
Yeah, you
Well,
can't.
can I just we'll move on from this. I just want to just quickly address your point on do we think there's going to be, good change or good reform? For me, right, before this, they looked like there was going to be other change, obviously, with the Champions League reform. And then I think there was something, what was it called? The big picture thing, where there was also going to be
Project Big Picture.
Project Big Picture,
Big
yeah.
Picture with a top end grab. This situation for me was a financial war play between big owners, big people with big influence, who were just basically going for a cash grab. This was all based on greed, one way or the other. I think change might happen, but I think anywhere it looks, it's going to be for the worse for people like us, for fans, because they're just trying to get their money one way or the other, and they basically tried to set themselves up for that. This is like politics, where you're going to have world leaders who are probably having a disagreement over some kind of border, and all of a sudden decide that they want to go into war, and then it's up to the foot soldiers to actually go into battle and fight for their sides, and they're the ones that end up losing their lives, or they're the ones that get sacrificed. This has nothing to do with us. This has nothing to do with the players, even, who earn a lot of money. This has nothing to do with the managers and the people that surround the sport. This is just big owners with a lot of money who just basically looking to get theirs and fuck everyone else for it.
I'm kind of say at least two positive things have come out of all of this. One, we've lost Mourinho. Two, we've lost Ed Woodward. The two people I've been calling for their heads for about a decade finally have gone.
I like Mourinho as a person. I know that's unpopular on here. I
don't dislike him as a person. I just don't like him as a manager.
He's a good pundit.
He was a good pundit.
He is a good pundit. He is a good pundit.
He's a great football mind.
It's good timing from Tottenham, because it's going to save him a bit of money. Yeah. So
I don't know who Daniel Levy's cousin is, but how the fuck did he get Tottenham involved in this bullshit?
Do you know what? Mourinho will be the only European Super League manager ever to be fired. So, still special.
Well, the thing about the thing about Mourinho getting fired, it's like they fired him before they want to get to a cup final, because it'll be tougher if they won.
It's such a killer. No, it's brilliant. It's so spiteful, because he knows Mourinho is all about saying, "Oh, well, I won this at this club and I won this and this club." He's done this absolutely on purpose, out of spite for Mourinho.
It's finance. Like I've been listening to a lot of TalkSport the last couple of days, and they explained that essentially when Chelsea sacked Conte, he had won a trophy, and then he went and took Chelsea for unfair dismissal, and he got not only his contract paid, he got an extra something like 20% on top of his contract. Yeah. So he made so much money. What they're saying is Mourinho was brought into Tottenham for one reason: to win a trophy. They haven't won a trophy since 2008 or 2009, whenever it was. And
by the way, how shit is TalkSport now?
Do you know what? In stuff like this, the old Crystal Palace guy, I don't like
Simon
him.
Jordan's excellent. Simon Jordan's very good.
On stuff like this.
Jamie O'Hara.
Some of the stuff I don't agree with. Like, it's TalkSport. I don't agree with everything they say, but on this, I thought he was quite good. But he was talking purely. Daniel Levy has looked and said the cost of sacking Mourinho this week versus after next week, if he wins, would be too much, because Mourinho would have done what he said he would do and win a trophy with Tottenham. So
Butters as well, like, you're talking about greed and money and all this competition of fair play. That's bullshit. Like, that's just going to go right under the radar. That's absolute nonsense that can happen to a manager. I don't care.
But it's not. I also think we got to not consider it sacking. There should be a different word, because Mourinho I had an interview laughing in the morning. He's technically on gardening leave. So he'll earn 16 million on gardening leave unless he finds another job.
Yeah, but the only way you get other jobs is your resume being what it is. If you haven't won, I know he's won in the past.
He will struggle. I think he will struggle.
I wonder if we've got a Benfica.
He'll struggle to get a Premier League job unless
he won't get a Premier League job.
Unless there's
every decent Premier League job that he could have got. Because now he can't go manage Man City.
He hasn't had the Arsenal job.
No, but he's had Spurs, so that's what I'm saying. He can't have Man City because he's had Man United. He's never going to get Liverpool or Everton because he's had Man United. Yeah. And he can't get Arsenal because he's had Spurs.
His hope is a Leeds or a Newcastle get a lot of funding.
PSG.
Need a good manager.
PSG have just got Poch. Well, actually, funnily enough, you know whose manager's just this week announced he's leaving is Bayern Munich.
That's yeah. Could you
He
see
just
Yeah,
announced
that's-
this
going?
week he's leaving.
There's no way.
Could you see
It's
Bayern
that-
Munich going?
No, they'll get that.
No,
this season.
no, but
The young
Yeah,
German
well,
manager.
you're like, no, but you just mentioned it. No,
We never
everybody's
know. I just-
saying that.
No, they'll
yeah.
get the Nyan Gola, whatever. Or that.
no, Nagelsmann.
No.
Okay, Nagelsmann.
Oh,
Yeah,
they'll get him.
Nagelsmann's apparently Tottenham bound.
that's
No,
that's what
no.
I'm saying.
Do you know who I'm tipping for Tottenham? Is Nuno.
Oh,
I think
good
they
shout.
I think they get Nuno at the end of the season.
And
or maybe
it
Rodgers.
comes with 13 Portuguese players as well. Perfect.
Yeah.
But and an agent who'll bring even more in.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it
Exactly.
Mendes the agent?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
Should we go to the results league?
Yeah, let's go to something a bit lighter.
Yeah, it matters again. So yeah, we should talk about it.
What do you say?
Well, it matters again now. It wasn't going to matter, but now football's back. We can talk
yeah.
about it.
There we go. So
Change my background.
last week, I said that Everton was going to beat Spurs 2-1. Oh, so very close. That was 2-2 because of Harry Kane's brace, although triple captain him and he looks like he's not going to be playing next game. Freaking hell. Danny, you picked Sheffield United to beat Wolves 1-0. Oof. If that was like a mirror result, you would have had that right in the bag. And Mark, you picked West Ham to beat Newcastle 3-1.
fucking hell. They're just like West Ham win every single match until I back them.
Because they didn't have Cresswell. So this week I'm going to go for. So me and Danny was just talking about before the pod. So at one point we're gonna have to do a double game week because we fucked up weeks and weeks ago. So we'll do that one week, not this one because we haven't prepared for it. I'm gonna pick Aston Villa to beat West Brom, and I'm gonna pick them 2-0. How long is Grealish out for?
How long? What?
How long's Grealish out for? Is he back soon?
He's not. I don't know. I really hope he is because we could really do with him for England. So I'm going to pick a half fit Grealish. I'm going to. That's really annoying, but I was going to pick the same team. What did you go 2-0?
I did, yeah.
Villa. I was also going to pick Villa to beat West Brom because I need to pick Villa to win. So I'm going to go for a 1-0.
1-0 to West Brom, yeah.
No, to Villa.
Bastard.
Bloody
Go on,
hell.
Mark.
Right, I need to pick City to lose, United to lose, and Spurs to lose, and I can't pick any of them this week.
Spurs.
Spurs. Ryan Mason, and they've got a cup final.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not playing. I can't pick them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
All right. So who do I need to pick to win? I've got Southampton. Who are they playing? We have Southampton.
Southampton aren't playing this week.
You know,
Oh, fucking
go
hell, he's prepared for this. They're getting that
Newcastle.
4 point.
Newcastle away.
Newcastle
Liverpool.
away to Liverpool. Yep, there we go. We got my game,
Newcastle away to Liverpool. Lovely.
and we're going to go Newcastle to win. We'll go 2-1.
It's so funny. It's like you just have to start picking stuff. Imagine someone just listening to this thinking, "Who's this fucking guy trying to pick a team?"
Ah, my Man United shares have tanked.
It's all
That's
going
because
down.
Ed Woodward,
Yeah.
terrible
funny,
football
huh?
man, but could make money out of anything.
The Champions League was quite good. There you go. So with the Champions League draft, Danny has done well. He's the only one who had 2 teams that have gone through, PSG and Chelsea. That's
Boom! You all laughed at me a few weeks ago.
very
You all
good.
laughed at me.
That Mark wanted to laugh at us by changing to Liverpool, and obviously that didn't work out. I love it. He's like, I love it. You guys laughing like they're not going to go through. Yes, they did.
Well, I had Porto who went out. So, and actually, from all accounts, Liverpool were quite unlucky to go out against Real Madrid in that second game. So
Very unlucky. Very unlucky. You know, you're
Still
right.
now.
You know what? Actually, we're going to put them right back in the Champions League draft because they were unlucky to go out. You're exactly right. You'll get points next week. So you've only got Man City left in, and then I've got Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. Unfortunately, went out.
Are we cutting teams again to 1 or keeping 2?
We do have to cut down to 1. Obviously, me and Mark only have 1 team each. You've got 2 teams, Dan, PSG and Chelsea. We won't switch teams now. We'll just keep it from the semi-finals to the finals.
that's good because I've got the team that's going to win it.
It's good because I've also got the team that's going to win it.
Well, so have I, PSG. So happy days.
Who are you going to drop then? Chelsea, I'm assuming.
Yeah. What are the fixtures?
Oh, it's if he's looking at the fixtures at this point.
Chelsea have Real Madrid, Man City have PSG.
Ooh. Ooh.
I know, but who do you fancy more?
Young boys.
Chelsea.
You fancy young
Chelsea
boys?
to beat Real Madrid or PSG to beat City.
It's actually not as easy as you think, isn't it?
That is tough. Yeah, that is really tough. But Poch against Guardiola. Poch never. Oh, he beat him a lot in the Champions League, there, didn't he?
It's like the latter stages of the European Super League, honestly.
I am going. Do you know what? I think this is Poch's year. I don't think Tuchel's going to do it. I'm going to stick with PSG.
It's going on like it's some super tough choice, honestly.
I actually
That
think it's a
is-
hard choice to
That's
make.
that's like Sophie's choice, man. That's really tough.
Chelsea are on a very good run, and
Yeah,
Real Madrid aren't as good as City.
yeah.
So
Real Madrid are
Chelsea-
beatable, definitely. But I just think Mbappe's just on fire, and that
Yeah,
if
PSG.
they play like they did they've beaten Barcelona and Bayern Munich. They freaking deserve to win it.
At 17 and a
also
half,
got the chance.
Mbappe's just not got the experience you want in these stages.
You've also got the chance of a Pep for selection, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Said that last time, and it kind of worked out for him still. Shall we go to? We've not done League One in a while. No, let's go to Mark's game.
Yep. So let me go get my game up. So this will be your first time playing this, Rory. But
Accrington
I've
Stanley's
got-
winning 1-0, by the way.
Gillingham winning 1-0, by the way.
So I've gone for pointless.
Fleetwood's
So
losing 1-0.
I'm sure people care. All right. So Rory, have you ever seen Pointless, or do you know?
I
how the
have
game
seen
works?
point. Don't you have to like name the thing with least answers or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say a category,
Okay.
and you need to name an answer in that you think people have answered less than anyone else. So you're gonna answer, but you want the most obscure answer.
Right. Okay. Cool.
All right, let's make this a quick game. Go on, let's go.
Yeah. So, I've got any club that's played in the Premier League. I want you to name the player who had the highest goal scoring season. So I'll give one as an example.
Alan Shearer.
But you need to name the team and the player. So
Okay.
Arsenal have two. I'll give you one as an example. So basically, Thierry Henry, he's once scored 30 goals in a season for Arsenal. So in a single season, Henry was their top goal scorer.
hmm
So what I'm looking for is you to say a player and the club that they scored that one season top goal scorer. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
That makes sense.
So we're naming two things.
Yeah, so Henry scored 30 goals in one season for Arsenal. That's the highest a player has scored for Arsenal in a single season in the Premier League.
I got you. I think so.
There's got to be the highest that they've scored. The highest
Yeah.
goal scorer.
Well, I'm either going to get this right or very wrong, but we'll give it.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
the reason I said Arsenal had two is because two players have scored 30 goals in a season for Arsenal. So I've used Henry as an example. You can say the other one if you want. But yeah, any team that's ever played in the Premier League.
All right, who's going first? Go on, Rory. You go first, mate.
And I'm going as obscure as I can.
Yeah.
The Spanish league don't count.
No, I know. Am I out if I get it wrong?
No.
You'll get 0 points.
But
The
there's-
point.
All right,
Yeah,
so I
but-
can take a
Right.
few risks.
Yeah, take some risks.
All right, Swindon Town, Mark Robbins.
Oh, that is huge.
And that is incorrect.
Fuck.
Oh,
Why is
So,
it? Was Mark Robbins not?
I'll explain after because the
okay.
round is still open.
But
So
I'm gonna.
your list must be so long, Mark.
Yeah. So
no,
I've
it's
got
who
one.
scored the most in a single season. So Man United are only on the list once because one player scored the most goals in a single season.
So the list in front of you is every Premier League team ever.
Yeah, but they only appear once.
Right, okay.
So,
So, all right, I've got one.
yeah.
Crystal Palace and Drew Johnson.
I was thinking of that. I knew you'd go something like that.
So, and that is correct, and that scores you 50, Danny. So Chris, you need an answer where less than half the people answering got correct.
Yeah. I'm going to go for, I've got two in my head. I'm going to go for Mark Viduka, Leeds.
Ooh.
Oh, that is correct. But 60% got that right.
Oh,
No way.
who was your other one?
So
What,
Who's
it's just
that one?
one question answer?
no,
I have
that-
two in my head.
So we're going round. Oh shit, I haven't thought of another
no,
one.
no. It's not. It's a new category next. So
Oh.
the
So
best answer on
I
the
was going
board
to go. I was going to
Ian
go for
Owen.
Dion Dublin and for Villa.
Oh,
Leon
oh
Dublin.
Huckabee for Coventry.
So Dublin was correct. So
Neil Redfern, Barnsley.
that was the
Huckabee.
second best answer you could have said.
Fuck!
Was
It-
Darren Huckabee on there for Coventry?
Where's Coventry on here?
No, it'd been Dublin for Coventry, surely.
It was Dion Dublin for Coventry.
I can't believe I didn't go Neil Redfern, Barnsley. I'm fuming.
Yeah. So best answer was Ian
Everington,
Only.
Cardiff.
For
Scored
Oldham.
11 goals for Oldham.
For Oldham, yeah.
Neil Redfern, Mark Bright for Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Wigan
Neil
Athletic
Redfern was
had
absolutely mustard back in the day.
Oh, what were those two strikers for Wigan Athletic? Roberts. Was it Roberts?
no, it was Henry
Jason
Kamara.
Kamara and Roberts. Yeah.
So some of the players you would have heard that were low down on the list. Derby Counties had
One
Paolo
Shot.
One Shot. Watford, their top goal scorer was Igalo.
Oh,
God.
Bradford
Yeah.
had Dean Windass.
of course.
Mikhail
course.
Fussell for Birmingham.
Didn't Bradford spend about 4 million on Benito Carboni one year that was meant to like propel him into mid-table and ended up getting relegated with about 8
Yeah, that's
points?
crazy. Would it Heskey and Leicester? Oh no, it would have been Vardy. and
This is a
Leicester.
great. You could have done the whole game. Is this it? Is the game over?
Yeah.
We all lost.
Yeah.
No, not the game, the
Oh.
category. We're moving to
Oh,
the next.
okay, okay.
So the same rules, new category. But this
This was a
category
great
is
game altogether. I wish we did the whole one.
You should
Yeah.
literally do a week
Yeah.
where it's just games.
Yeah, well, the top answer was Omri and Van Persie. They put them
Nice.
together for Arsenal. Alan Shearer for Blackburn, Aguero for City, Drogba for Chelsea, Salah for Liverpool, Ronaldo for United.
Fair
All
play.
right. The next one is really whoever goes first has the biggest advantage, and whoever goes third is probably going to lose. I don't know why I've made this category in here, but who's going first?
Me.
Well, it's the same order. Yeah.
All right,
Go
Danny,
for
I want you to name any London team that's played in the Premier League.
I can't understand why last place is going to be worse, but any London team that's played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
What's an obscure one? QPR.
Danny says QPR. 63% of people have answered that. So who was next? Chris.
Oh, I got, why have I gone blank? There's a team I'm. Why am I being absolutely stupid with this in my head?
Get tube map out.
I can't think of it. I'm gonna absolutely kick myself. I'm just gonna go for Watford.
Watford are counted as a London team in this
Are they?
and are 60%.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course
get
they are.
out. Get
Yeah.
out. How's Watford
So-
still a London team?
So Rory, can you name an obscure London team?
Charlton
That
Athletic.
less correct. Charlton are actually the best answer
Boom!
in this game. So point to Rory. So Charlton were the best answer. Wimbledon were the second best.
Charlton were in
Then
the
Watford,
Premier League for
QPR.
years.
Yeah, I forgot. Alan Curtis,
Yeah.
of course.
Charlton, Wimbledon, Watford, QPR, Palace, Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Nice. Yeah. Of course, Watford are a London team.
All right.
Sort of. They're inside the M25, but outside the London boroughs. This
They're
is
about
like
as
the same way
London as you, Rory.
you tell. That's what I was going to say. You tell me I don't live in London.
All right. So
Like,
one to what's
If
that? One
Watford
to
are in London,
Rory.
so am I.
Who got the first point? Danny.
Me, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this category, naturally, I want to say it leans towards you, Rory, but we'll see. So after Real Madrid announced they were going in the ESL, I was like, well, what other clubs in? Because they were saying Real were joining the ESL league, and I was like, well, Real could mean a number of teams. So I want any team that's played in La Liga that also have the word Real in their name.
Okay, who's going first? Chris.
I'll go
Chris.
first this time, innit? I'm going to go for Real Zaragoza.
Great
Nice.
answer.
Good answer.
Correct.
I had that one.
66.8%
Oh.
of people answered that.
Oh, that's high.
That's funny. I think I
So-
heard something today with all the Real teams for some reason.
Probably similar. Someone was like, why do they keep just saying Real?
Who's going next?
If
Me or
you
Dan?
next, Rory.
All right, I'm gonna go Real Oviedo.
Oh,
Oh, it's big.
Unless they're known as something else. I haven't got them on here.
What?
oh.
Uh,
Oh.
how am I going to beat Real Zaragoza?
So I don't get a point. I don't get a point.
It's not on my
Well,
list.
Can I have another guess then?
Wait, worry, because it's the Primera division, isn't
It's
it?
only the no, because Zaragoza ain't in the Primera. So
Yeah, they were once upon a time, though.
so
Yeah.
Oviedo been.
Have
Have
they?
they?
Of course they have.
Well, they're
I'm
not on my
Googling.
list.
Google it. I'm not. Are you sure about that?
Can I have another? Can I have another go then?
God no, they're not on his list. Soz.
Real. Well,
Well, they
There's
say,
the obvious ones, but
Yeah,
I wonder why they're not on my list then.
Rory, they've never been in it.
Of course they have.
so
I'm getting
Anyway,
their season history.
right.
It's true,
What am I-
actually,
what-
they have.
Real. What are my choices?
It wasn't La Liga back then. It was something else.
Okay.
It was-
It's
What are my
always been La
choices?
Liga. La Liga just means the league.
I've got.
All right,
I was
Rory, we'll
gonna-
give you another one if you
No,
want.
oh, come on. If you take mine, I'm going to fucking
Yeah,
kill
that's
you.
Go on,
bollocks.
look, let Danny go first, and then I'll see if I can beat Danny.
Yeah. All right then.
All right. Real Valladolid.
Fuck off! He just took mine.
Of course you're going to take that one. That's the only one left that isn't like the obvious Betis or Madrid or whatever.
So that
This year.
was answered by 56% of people.
Man, I am getting
Oh.
murked here. This is ridiculous.
So Rory, we'll give you another one. If you get it wrong, Danny goes 2-1 up.
Okay.
Oviedo spent 38 seasons in La Liga. So.
Just the 38 seasons. Just the longer than any of us.
38.
What else are they known as? Because the problem is I've got their full names in Spanish. So unless they're
It's
called
probably CF Real Oviedo.
You should have probably got it in English, mate. That would have helped.
They're Real Oviedo. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know why they're not on here.
Maybe it's
Um,
a certain time period.
Maybe, or maybe I don't know.
Rory.
I've gone blank, so I'm just going to go for the obvious and go Real Betis.
They are 84.9% of people answered this.
They're gargantuan, that's why.
So the best answer that most of you would have known was Deportivo La Coruña. They're actually known as Real Club Deportivo.
That's outrageous. That's
That is true. Yeah, no, that's true.
Then you got Racing Santander,
Really?
Racing Santander. They're called Real.
Real Racing Club Santander,
Guess who started their career at Racing Santander?
another club,
Moreno.
Sergio Canales.
Canales.
I got him in
What
4
does Real
podcasts in
mean?
a row.
I don't know, but here's another
Is it
one.
like
you
United?
would, here's another one you probably didn't know. Real Celta Vigo.
Didn't know that.
No.
Knew that.
Another one you should have known is Real Club Espanyol.
Yeah. There's loads. I think it's United or FC or something. isn't
No, it just means Royal.
So there you
So
go.
one club in the
I
city.
have
will
no
get-
idea why they didn't put
Rory, some real dickhead blood.
any. All right, so Danny, point to
That's
you.
even royal. Yeah.
Don't worry, how many more rounds left?
Last round.
So if I draw, have you got a tiebreaker?
I have got a tiebreaker.
All right, okay.
Always
Right,
got
I'm
one.
ready.
So I moaned about the ESL having 4 teams that never won the European Cup or Champions League. I want any team that's won it that's not one of those super clubs.
Me?
Okay.
So who was first?
think
I think
Rory's
it's you.
first.
I think it's you, Rory.
I'll go first. Steaua Bucharest.
And that is answered by 34% of people.
Oh,
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Not beating that. Steaua Bucharest. Who's a one-time winner?
Massive.
Is it me next?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dear. Has it been any Russian teams? No. European. So it's not just Champions League, right? Any European Cup.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Steaua Bucharest haven't won the Champions League.
I can't remember.
It's not European League. It's European Cup or
European Cups. Yeah.
Top tier one. So not the Super League, but the Champions League.
Aston Villa.
Correct. 55%.
Ooh.
That was a good answer.
I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest.
That'd be high.
Correct. That was 65%.
Would it be really?
Actually,
Oh,
Rory
Twice.
did have the bottom answer. I didn't know if I should have just called it then, but it's
No.
good to let you guys bit.
I was going to say Porto. Where's Porto?
Porto won it twice.
Yeah, that'd be high.
Yeah, the best answer was Steaua Bucharest. Feyenoord was slightly above them, and Hamburg just above them. Red Star Belgrade.
Do you know what? Oh,
I knew there was a Russian team.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if they just
Belgrade's
made
in
a final.
Serbia.
You know what I mean? Like an Eastern European one.
I wasn't sure if they just made a final, if they actually won. That's what I was thinking.
Part of the EESL, the Eastern European Super League.
Yeah.
But so is that 2-2 then? Rory?
Yeah,
That's 2-2,
2-2.
yeah.
All right, Chris, you can decide who answers first, but I'm gonna answer. The tiebreaker is just the first to get the right team. So,
Go on, give it to Rory first. I want him to put the pressure on Danny Boy.
all right, he might just get it right though and win the tiebreaker. So, Real Madrid won the first 5 Champions Leagues before most teams. They actually won a few before most teams actually joined it. Who was the first team that wasn't Real Madrid to win the European Cup?
Great question.
I didn't hear the whole question. I think you broke up.
So
But
Real
of all
Madrid.
European Cups.
So Real Madrid won the first 5. So they basically won it when there was only like 4 teams in it.
Yeah, I've got
Right,
my
I'm
answer.
with you. Okay, I'm with you.
So who was the first team to win it
The first team,
after Real Madrid?
the first team to win it after Real Madrid were Benfica.
No, it's correct. I was really hoping he got it wrong because he was wearing the Benfica top.
Do you know what? It was a toss-up in my head between Benfica and Celtic because they both won it in the early 60s. And I knew the Champions League started in the mid to late 50s. So it was like, and didn't Celtic win it in 62? Or did they win it in 60?
67.
Well,
Right, so they
big
won it.
knowledge. That is big European Cup knowledge, that.
Yeah. I love it. I
I
love
see
football.
why Rory was much more angry about the European Super League than me. I'm thinking.
Now you get it. Yeah.
So yeah, it
I
was Real
don't get it,
Madrid.
that's the point.
Benfica then won it twice, then
Yeah.
AC Milan, then Inter Milan. Celtic were the
I
first.
was going to go for a Milan team.
club.
Milan
year
team
after-
would have been my guess.
Yeah. The year after Celtic was Man United, so that was when the UK.
Can we do the
teams
Can we do the
started.
story on another podcast? Can we do the story of the Benfica curse? Because I just love it. It's one of my favourite sporting stories ever.
Save it for the next one. We've been on an hour and a half. So
That's what I mean. Yeah, we can't do it today. There's not time.
Right, front 3, back 4.
Go on, Em.
Rory, do you want to go? Actually, no, you won the game, so I'll go first. Is that right?
Mhm.
Sure. All right. In my front 3 this week is Twitter, or everyone on Twitter, because we can all rejoice. Chrissy Teigen is back on Twitter after a 3-week retirement hiatus. Do you know who Chrissy Teigen is?
Who?
Chrissy Teigen, John Legend's wife.
Oh,
John Legend's
yeah.
wife is always arguing on Twitter.
Yes, Queen Twitter, the lady of the manor when it comes to the blue check marks. So she tweeted out on the 25th of March, but it's time for me to say goodbye. This no longer serves me as positively as it serves me negatively. And I think that's the right time to call something. My life goal is to make people happy. The pain I feel when I don't do this is too much for me. I've always been portrayed as a strong clap back girl, but I'm not just. So she decided to retire, and in 3 weeks came out with, turns out it feels terrible to silence yourself. and also no longer enjoy belly chuckles randomly throughout the day, and also lose 2,000 friends at once. LOL.
She's a bad, isn't she?
This for me is oh, actually, I'm not going to say what I want to say. Funny. We'll go with that word. It's funny. Yeah, it's weird that, like lately, obviously, there's been a lot of players and footballers saying that they're going to come off Twitter.
Boycott. Yeah.
Boycott. It's almost like it's similar to like the all these teams thinking that they're going to just leave and people are going to follow it. They're going to do this and that and the other. It's like Twitter's going to carry on. You can take these stances and then realize actually you're not getting the attention that you want. You're just going to come back. You're going to make no difference. Do you know what I mean? As long as Donald Trump's on there, actually he's gone off now and he's been taken off. Our king. But, in my back foot is Cuthbert. Cuthbert the Caterpillar.
The Caterpillar.
Yes, Caterpillar Gate. They're calling it.
I really enjoyed that this week. Did you see
Caterpillar
the Super League meme yesterday with it?
No.
It had it was all the supermarkets with all the caterpillars, and it's like we're creating our own super caterpillar league or something. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. Brilliant.
So Marks and Spencer's has tried to sue Aldi for doing their Caterpillar cakes. Now there's been a lot of different stores that have tried to replicate the kind of Caterpillar cake because it seems popular, but all of them has kind of made it their own. Aldi have literally I feel like they've taken the face off of Marks and Spencer's cake, calling the Caterpillar, which they've trademarked, and just stuck it on their cake. But what Aldi's gone and done now is, because this happened a few months ago, Aldi have come back to resell their cake and said that all the profits they're going to earn from it are going to go to charity.
Yeah, this was their like kind of, don't take us to court. We're doing good.
They've obviously realized they've got all these cakes they need to sell. Let's just break even, but just say we'll give it to charity. Let's not just throw them away. Let's try and get it back. And Marks and Spencer says, we like the idea of charity, but you're not going to get away with it. Let's raise money for charity, not lawyers, Aldi said. So there you go. Crime doesn't pay, apparently, particularly at Aldi's prices. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Oh, go on, Maury.
Right, so my front three is, he's been out of the news for about 2 weeks. Well, actually about a week. Prince Harry has got a new job title. Which
Head of D&I.
Chief Impact Officer at a mental health startup in California, which is known as a chimpo in business circles. But it also means penis in Japanese, which has raised a lot of eyebrows and a lot of chuckles in the Far East.
They're not the only thing that's raised.
Yeah. So good on him. He's had a hard week, bless him. Granddad's funeral and everything. His wife is expecting, so everyone at All Talk wishes him, all the best. We'll raise a glass to him, and hope that he's not struggling for a few quid.
No.
Chief Impact Officer for mental health, was it?
For just a charity startup. Let me have a look at this.
Yeah, he's had a big impact on me the last few years.
Well, he doesn't have a good resume. One person asked him for help, and he openly admitted he didn't help. So
what are you talking about?
Well, the interview, Meghan said she was struggling with mental health and went
to
Harry.
He did it.
And then Harry said, I was too proud to ask anyone for help, so I just did nothing.
It just said that
that's the guy who's running the mental health charity.
To be fair to him, right? He's probably never been shown how to do anything. Like, these people can't even work ATMs. Like, I reckon he would struggle to get 20 quid out. I genuinely do. Like, I do feel a little bit sorry for them in a weird way.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to handle cash if your nan's face was on it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it said he will not be directly managing employees as part of his role, but he's expected to be part of meetings and a special company events. Pretty much what Danny does. He just goes to meetings all day and then gets paid loads. The prince is now listed as part of Better Up's leadership team on their website. It features a black and white photo and describes him as a humanitarian, military veteran, mental wellness advocate, and environmentalist. What a role! What a job! Imagine being able to just describe.
Just imagine it. Imagine him on Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Just imagine him on Zoom meetings going, "Can you hear me? Can you see me? How about now? How about now?"
Yeah, just what a
My
life.
missus over there, she's keep it down, Megs.
Yeah.
What a life. And my back four, obviously, is Stan Kroenke, man. Just what an awful person. What an all-round awful individual. Just please leave Arsenal, go back to your ranch in Texas that's like half the size of Wales or some shit like that. Shoot deer and shoot buffalo and leave everyone else the fuck alone. You miserable moustache wearing.
I bet he
Well,
would
I'd
do a
say the
good
C
party.
word
Though.
in it. Pardon?
I bet he would do a good party though.
I bet he wouldn't. I bet it'd be like one of them things that you see in like an American film where there's like a band playing in the background, but like light opera, light classical music, and he's walking around just, there's someone walking around handing out shrimp off of a platter. He's just a bellender geezer.
Stan
I'd hate to
Kroenke-
spend an
Stan
hour in his
Kroenke
company.
Is top 5 all-time creepy owner face.
Who? His face?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah,
like
he's
a
butters,
freak.
man. He's butters. And his son looks like a typical rich geezer's son. Like, like they all have the same face. Stan Kroenke's son, Donald Trump's kids, they're all like just child of rich geezer. They all have the same face, the same slick back haircut. I know I'm hardly one to talk at the minute, but yeah, just
I was just gonna say, Rory, nice hair.
I know. Well, I've got a new job to start, and I want to make a good impression. I want them to think I come from good stock.
Yeah, don't assume
Yeah.
you're gonna get past that CBS show.
Fake it till you make it, Rory.
Exactly.
Well,
That's
Mark,
me.
Yeah, I'll go seeing as Danny looks desperately doing something else, probably trying to get up his front
I'm
feet.
just-
I'm actually
Google it.
just
Google it.
reading how Conor McGregor is saying that he's thinking about buying Man United.
He just tweeted that. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm just reading the funny comments.
all right, I'm gonna just quickly. My back four is a sad one. After we celebrated Rachel Blackmore winning Cheltenham and the national and celebrating the rise of women jockeys, we actually lost one on the weekend. So Lorna Brooke fell at Taunton, and she was an up-and-coming jockey, and unfortunately she passed away. So
no.
let's pour one out for Lorna.
Was it
That's
from
terrible.
mine?
Yeah, she fell during a race.
And an amateur as well, so she won't even get
Amateur
paid.
race.
Bless her.
Yeah, shit.
Brutal, man.
So then, yeah, pour one out for Lorna. And my front three, as Rory spoke about, non-profit organisations, and Chris, you spoke about charities. My front three is around the charity, and it's, do you know who Patrice Cullors is?
Is she the head of BLM?
She's the founder of BLM, and she's in my front three because she has bought a new house recently. So let's celebrate that. So she has bought a 1.4 million pound home in what critics are saying is in a 98% white area, but I don't that doesn't bother me that what area she buys in. But like she's now bought her 5th home in 5 years. She claims that not a single penny from the Black Lives Matter not-for-profit organization, which is separate for the Black Lives Matter for-profit organization. So make sure when you donate, you know which one you're donating to, and when you take a knee and fill your placard out, you specify which one you mean.
She got 5 houses at the same time, or she's upgraded 5 times? Like, does she now own 5
they're saying
houses?
her portfolio is around 4 or 5 million.
Wow.
So
Well, one thing, the reason why this also is something to note is that she's a
Socialist.
card member of
Marxist.
the Marxist organization, or she wants to believe herself to be a Marxist.
No,
Now, if
she
you understand what Marxism is, technically, she's still okay to do what she's doing, technically, because Marxism is just the observation of the differences between capitalists and their workers. She has not earned her money; she's been given it by donations. So
Yeah.
she's well intended to buy whatever she likes, because again, she has not exploited workers by capitalist gains. She has been given money by people, so it is okay that they just hand her money so she can live in these mansions.
So, and she had a very tearful interview, which I thought, when you broke down what she said, was actually quite funny, because she was saying that people are questioning her, and she lives her life supporting black people, despite how much money she's got now and where that money comes from. You shouldn't ask. But she said
You shouldn't ask where her money's come from.
she said she needs to remind people that her family are black, and by spending money on her house, she is supporting her family, and she's giving all her money to her family, who are a black family. So she's still supporting black people that way. So when you take what she said, she basically said charity starts at home. So let's the reason it's in my front three this week is because Twitter have banned many people who've said it's not a good thing. So if Twitter come looking, this is my front three, so it's good news.
Very good.
There we
Danny,
go.
go on, wrap us up.
I've got actually a few. I was trying to think about.
Because we got to go.
Yeah, I'm going to make it quick. I thought a shout out to one of the funniest things I've seen in weeks, and also made history, which is I think we shared on the group, the Northern Ireland women's football game against Ukraine, where the Ukrainian defender in the final moment of the game ran so far out of her way to take that player out because I don't know what came over her. It's one of the best clips I've seen in ages. But actually, by Northern Ireland winning that, they made history. It's the first time they've ever qualified for World Cup. So congratulations to them. I also wanted to shout out to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who some of you might not know, but is manager of Burton Albion and has done the most unbelievable job of that club. He's actually, since he's taken over, they're basically second in the league. They were like 7, maybe 9 points off of safety when he took over. They're now about 9 points clear of safety. They've broken the all-time club record for consecutive wins. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is doing an absolute unbelievable job at Burton Albion. And they're just blowing up everyone in their way. So well done to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Oh, Jimmy.
I used to love him as a player.
I did. What a footballer.
Great player. Great player.
Is there been a player that's hit a ball harder? He's like
Risa. Him and John Arne Risa in the Premier League at the same time.
It was different though, weren't it? Because Hasselbank just didn't need a run-up.
Yeah.
You know, at 5-a-side when they say penalties are one step, it would have made no difference to Hasselbank.
Yeah.
Everything was one step.
You're the best 5-a-side penalty taker ever.
Yeah.
One other final thing to wrap up my front three is the UK government. Because today they announced a formal review into the Football Index scandal. It is officially being reviewed. They're officially taking the Gambling Commission or they're going to scrutinise the Gambling Commission, which is going to make all the claims for all the crap that went on much, much easier. So there is just that tiny bit more chance of people getting their money back.
I was going to say, Danny, when are we getting our money back, mate?
Yeah, well, soon enough.
The one thing the government are good at is when people make money off ordinary people and they didn't get their fair cut. So
exactly.
If they're not looking at helping you guys, they're wondering why they never knew about this in the first place.
Yeah, why didn't they get it? Exactly. So in my back four is Paul Pogba. I don't know if you've seen
Jesus Christ.
I still have got a few. They're on my front three. My back four this week is Paul Pogba.
Save them for following weeks, Danny.
His new Pogumentary. Have you seen it?
Pogumentary.
He has signed up with Amazon. It is officially called the Pogumentary, and it is a story of his life. And it's the story of him off the field, which of course everyone is going to want to watch because I don't know what he does off the field. Haircuts, maybe, but
haircuts and makes emojis and dances.
I don't know, dancing and haircuts.
No, he's literally going to be. The documentary is him sitting in the barber's chair, looking at his phone like this for 4 episodes.
So that will, I'm sure, make millions and be the #1 watched documentary in the world. But
hopefully, this is a build-up. Hopefully, this will be a build-up to a documentary about Balotelli.
This will be in your front three, Danny, in a couple of weeks. You love an Amazon football documentary.
It's not going to be football, is it?
I don't deny I'm going to watch it religiously, but I will not enjoy it.
He'll go back and he'll be like, this is where I used to play football when I was younger. And you're like, but you signed for a professional club when you were 11. It's like,
you'd have him dribbling around a few 8-year-olds in a cage somewhere in Paris.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
picking balls into the back of the net as hard as he can from 4
yards. If you take those 2 sentences out of context, Rory, that'd be an incredibly weird sentence you've just said.
That's very true.
That's it. Exactly what Chris is going to do on the clip.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Let's wrap this up. We will see you on the weekend when we have the breakdown of the European Super